Hello.
Hi. You're the most prompt person so far.
I pride myself on my punctuality. So
Yeah. We'll get to timekeeping and time management for sure.
yeah, it's definitely a key thing for me.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm going to do this whole thing with my cat on my lap.
Oh, I saw
apparently.
he interrupted you and Phoebe yesterday.
Yeah, so this time he's here from the start. So hopefully.
Okay, fingers crossed. You have to give him some attention during it so he doesn't feel left out.
He's honestly so silly. We have had a silly question actually, and I wonder if you will know who it's from. I'm just going to say it because it's talking about cats. So you're stuck in a room with a Bengal tiger. Would you rather have a sword or a laser pointer? And this is what you get for having a weird coach.
I got an equally weird question from him as well. So I think he was just trying to troll us.
He's definitely trying to troll us.
He's here on time. He's already late. So
how is it going now you're with those guys? Because they've got a very different approach, haven't they, to coaching you've had before?
Yeah, very different because last year I went through 3 coaches. So he's my 3rd one from the year.
Yeah.
But it is very, very different. But that's kind of what I wanted. Like for prep, I want to tick the boxes as you go and get it all done. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as soon as I finished prep, I just kind of realized that I wanted more. I wanted to learn and kind of develop my knowledge, especially since like I'm investing so much in my education and learning more about exercise mechanics and nutrition and training anyway. I just thought, why not go further and get a coach that will also be able to assist me with that?
Yeah. I think as a coach yourself, it's so good to have had different approaches as a client as well, to see different methods and, you know, what has worked for you, what hasn't.
That's
even the different communication styles, right? I've learned something from every single coach I've ever had.
It's actually crazy. And like, you don't even realize how many different methods there are to coaching until you go through it yourself. And then in a way, because you've been the client, you know from the client's perspective what works and what doesn't work. Yeah. Like, for example, I don't really like the approach that people use where they have that like online platform where you submit a check-in through the website, because when I did it, I find it quite impersonal. I almost felt like I was talking to a robot or something.
Yeah.
So I like having like WhatsApp interaction. I like being able to call clients if I need to, or voice message them and things like that.
Yeah, especially I suppose competition prep clients can be a little bit neurotic, right?
Yeah.
Just exactly. A little bit. Yeah. There's some strange questions.
What kind of question is that?
Ignore those questions. Let's talk about the coaching yourself. So obviously you have a full-time job.
I do.
And you've also been studying.
I am, yeah.
And you're also coaching.
Yeah.
And then you're also studying outside of that for your coaching.
Yeah, so I'm actually sitting my PT exams on Monday, but I think they'll be okay because like it's just level 2. So yeah, I have my full-time job, which I started my new job back in February. So literally like 3 weeks before lockdown, I started a new career. So I moved into the industrial, like multinational company world. I was in like academia before that. So I was working in like universities and not-for-profit clinical trial centers. Yeah. And now I work in like a multinational. But I have been what was meant to happen is I meant to have 9 site visits a month that are all in the UK. So I was meant to be traveling over and back to the UK 9 times a month.
Yeah.
But obviously that hasn't happened. I haven't been able to move. So I'm kind of stuck at home, just like ticking over, like doing the training and like pretending I'm okay. So that's been a bit crazy. So I don't know when. I've just been told that my sites should open up end of July. But like,
okay.
So that will start then. Luke has finally joined us. We haven't answered his question yet, so we can do it for him now. We're waiting for him to arrive.
I think I'd rather have a laser pointer, Luke. If I was going to be playing with my
laser pointer.
Look, I literally have got this cat right here for the
so lazy.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt the Bengal tiger.
But he's definitely going to hurt you if you don't hurt him. So
I don't know. I've read Life of Pi.
It's a dog world out there, you know.
So have you found that you've had a little bit more time during the lockdown to dedicate to your actual like passions instead of work? You know, like you study for your other studies.
Yeah, so I was lucky. I was kind of lucky the situation I was in, that I had a lot more time to kind of study for MNU. So I had a very good schedule in place for that. So I have been able to kind of build the business up a bit. And also I find that like my business has kind of grown a bit better since lockdown, I feel, because people want to have some sort of structure. So people that haven't had coaching before have decided now is the time to do it, because they have the time to invest in that.
Mm-hmm.
That's been really good. And then I've been developing a website, which is almost ready, so I'm very excited to launch that. And then doing my PT exams as well. So kind of doing anything I can to further my education now while I'm not constantly on the go, because I think that's what's going to take the time after this, is the commuting, because I will be going over and back to the UK all the time. So that will obviously take away a lot of time, whereas now I'm like just doing everything from home. I'm like studying, training from home, so that definitely cuts out like the commuting time. So I'm trying to like optimize my time when I can and make the most of having it.
Mm-hmm. One question that I've been asked by it's somebody that is also has aspirations to become a coach. Okay. Just saying, when did you know you were ready to receive clients?
You never feel ready. You never ever feel ready. Like my interest was first peaked for coaching back February of 2019, so last year. And I took on my first client, I think it was November. So ages. And then after that I didn't really start properly coaching until, I don't know, January, February. Like, it's so hard. It is really scary at first, because you're like, oh my god, I'm taking this person's life into my hands. This is a huge responsibility. And you always like, you just don't trust yourself, and you always have that like imposter syndrome, be like, who am I to take on clients? Like, I don't know anything. What do I know? But, just like anything else, you just have to take the risk, because like what's the worst that can happen? If you have the knowledge, if you believe in like what you do, and you have done the work and put in the effort, like what is the worst that can happen? So I went for it. I just opened it up, and then like my business is growing quite slowly, but each client I have, I try and look after as well as I can, and like develop a really good relationship with them. And they know they can come to me for anything. So because I've built it up so slowly, it really has developed into this little family, which I've loved. So I've really enjoyed it. But you never really will feel ready. It's like anything, like when I was like changing careers, when I was going into university, and when I wanted to be working in all these like well-known establishments that have high reputations, like I never thought I was good enough or ready for them. But you just have to take the risk, So at the end of the day, if you're a good coach and you believe what you're doing is right, then I don't know. I just went with my gut, because I just knew I wanted to really, really help people, because I've been through that really difficult situation where I haven't known what's the right approach for me, how to lose weight efficiently. I was listening to people from all over the place, not knowing what was right, what was wrong, like what the media was telling you. So I just wanted to help girls to like cut out all of that and just go straight to, the evidence-based stuff, and knowing like how to deal with kind of mental issues that come around, and how to deal with the mindset side of things. And I just thought that I just really, really wanted to help, and I just went for it. So I think that is the main thing. There isn't really like
I think if you don't take the risk, you're never gonna benefit, right?
That's the thing. And I think you just have to learn in life that the best things that happen are worth taking the risks for. It's like competing as well. Like there's so many things in competing that's like you just have to go for it.
I wasn't actually going to compete in 2018. I didn't feel like I developed my lower body enough, and I wasn't competitive. And obviously that year I became British champion, because I just took the chance. And that really, that day taught me a lot about just going for it in life. And really just now it's like, if you're not in it, you can't win it, so you've just got to take the risk.
But people were saying that to me last year. I remember in my off season, someone messaged me and they were like, oh, like your coach is blowing smoke up your ass, like you're not as good as you think you are, what, you're going to be really disappointed when you diet down again. So I was like, oh my god, should I even prep? Like, am I even ready? then I ended up, you know, qualifying for Worlds and going to New York and representing Ireland as like their bikini girl. Like that
Yeah.
was huge. Did not imagine my prep would go that way.
Yeah.
So you just have to
I was
go
so
for it.
jealous because every other federation had their world championships in like Miami, New York, Bahamas, and I had my world championships in Birmingham. But I'd only qualified 2 weeks before, so if it had been somewhere more exotic, I probably would have struggled to get there, to be honest. So Birmingham's just an hour and a half away.
That's the thing, like it was a big investment. Like it was rough. And like I find like when competitions are overseas, like we complain about UK competitions being expensive, but the American ones are crazy expensive.
Really?
Yeah, like my photography was $200. My tan was $200. My entry fee was $150. Like,
wow,
it was mental. So yeah, you probably are better off financially if we're not.
Yeah, I'm glad that PCA is actually quite cost effective.
Yeah, no, they're actually fine.
You know, Birmingham.
Don't you just like register for membership and then you can enter whatever shows you want then?
Yeah, the membership is super cheap, right? It's like £35 for the year or something like that. And then the show, I think, is again maybe £30, £25. You know, it's super cheap. Yeah. And then, yeah, everything around it. I mean, you can cut corners, right, with your tan and your makeup and stuff, but cheap. It is cheap. Yeah. Oh my God, my cat's actually fighting now. I did have a question, and I'm sorry, I couldn't find it, but I do remember that the person's studying for a PhD and wants to compete and wondered if you had any tips around that. I didn't, oh God, look, Natalie's
nothing wrong with Rob.
She trolls me in every single live, so just ignore anything she says.
One of my sites is meant to be Birmingham City Hospital, Sandwell. That's the site, so I should be there a lot, so I hope it's nice because then I can make the most of it when I'm there.
I've spent a lot of time in Birmingham thanks to PCA, and yeah, I like it. Sadly, someone like Natalie lives there, but you know, she won a cheesecake today and she's gifted it to me because it's in London, a Biscoff cheesecake. So actually, I love her today.
That's amazing.
So yeah, the lady that asked the question is actually on listening to us now. She asked about any tips you've got. She's studying for a PhD but also wants to compete, and obviously I would expect a PhD you really need to be able to concentrate, and when you're competing you can't concentrate. Yeah. So what I think for me the biggest tip I would say is start your prep very early so you can very gradually diet down into it instead of a sharp 16-week even is still for your first. I don't know I think it might be the first prep. I would say take it as slow as possible with a coach that can help you manage, because I certainly lose my mind when I don't give myself long enough because I've got to go much lower calories, much higher energy expenditure. What would you think do you think there's anything else you could really advise?
Yeah, see, for me, like people might say otherwise, but in my opinion, I don't think I get like severe brain fog. I think I just get quite irritable. Because for example, my first prep, I was working in Cambridge as a medical researcher. And that was a 12-week prep where I lost 10 kilos in 12 weeks. So that was intense. Yeah. And then my second prep, I was actually interviewing for a new job, and I managed to do an interview like 2 weeks out from one of my final shows. And I got the job, obviously. So like I was able to put in the work. So I think like to a certain extent, a lot of it is mentally, you know, the way you always, like they always say, like you believe what you tell yourself. Yeah. So you tell yourself, I'm on prep, I'm tired, I'm not going to be able to concentrate, you know, I'm not going to do this properly. Like you're going to that's going to happen. Like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way. If you don't give yourself easier for yourself to put systems in place, to schedule your time, to be efficient. Like I had everything set in stone from the morning when I woke up to when I went to bed. Everything was scheduled, and having those systems in place. So that even if you don't feel like it, the habit will make you do it. The habit is sometimes stronger than the motivation. And you have to
I would say being Yeah, being super organized, you have to schedule your time. Oh, you've gone all, we're talking over each other. You've frozen. Are you back? You got really bad reception. Right, let's see if she comes back. But I would say you have to really schedule the time. Oh, you're back. You're back. Can you hear us? Me? You are back, but you're very pixelated. But Gemma, I would say I schedule every minute of the day. From the minute I wake up, cardio, I schedule in my meal times, I schedule in my laundry, I schedule in my commute, and it just keeps you maximize your time so that you schedule in the study time, you know, schedule in everything that you need to, including some downtime. I think it's really important to have some naps because you're exhausted. We've lost Holly it would seem. Oh, she's gone. She'll be back, guys. But yeah, Gemma, I would say just be super organized. Give yourself a lot of time. I always factor in extra time because of injury and illness. But then you won't be stressed and you can cruise in. And a good coach will help you to manage your time when you're stressed anyway. I would also say being on a meal plan instead of macros will stress you out less because you don't have to think about food. Look, Jen, you are back, and I can see you really clearly as well. I was just saying about being super organized, and also for me, like for my last prep, I got promoted halfway through, and I just was struggling to calculate my macros to do everything else. So I just begged my coach for a meal plan, and although she doesn't like giving meal plans, it just made my life so much easier because it made my grocery shopping even just bog standard, you know.
But that's what I find about meal plans. Like generally I'd be quite against them if you want to like educate a client, and if they're a lifestyle client, I usually would never assign a meal plan to them. But in a prep, when you don't want to think, you just want to go through the motions, you just want to be a robot, it can be quite beneficial because it reduces the decision fatigue that's usually involved in like trying to fit your macros. And also because I'm such a numbers person, like as my calories get lower and my macros get lower, I'll spend ages on my fitness pal like manipulating the macros to see like how can I fit the most amount of food with the least amount of, you know, I would just try and figure that out, and that can drive you mental as well. So, and also the numbers can sometimes, if they go quite low, can be quite difficult to accept that you're eating that little. Whereas if you're on a meal plan, you're blindly following it, you have your blinkers on, you don't know, you just do it. It can be more beneficial in a prep situation. So like there is a time and a place for them.
I think that you just get some strange motivation and drive from deep within, don't you, when you're going to compete, and it just makes you do everything. I feel like Wonder Woman when I'm prepping because I just do everything. But the first time I prepped, my house by the end of it looked like a crack den. There was literally grenade bar wrappers all over the floor. I don't even remember eating a single grenade bar in that prep. And I was just literally like, I can't live like this. So I promised myself in the last prep that I would not let my house get like that.
But like, do you ever get in prep, like what I found, I was going around my gym and people would be saying to me like, oh, I don't know how you do it, that's amazing, like I could never do that, like what you're doing, and you get this like sick kind of superiority about it, being like, I'm better than everyone else because I can do it, and I
just kiss my biceps and give them a piece
and I can be shredded and still do everything, and you're all shit, and like it's just, you get this like weird like complex about you being like, I can do this, like I'm amazing, and that almost like that's the fuel you need. It's not the food, like you don't have the food, you just have that like sheer like motivation through like what's going on up there. Like it really is like a mind thing at the end of the day.
Somebody else has asked me to ask you what it's like to compete as a natural competitor in non-tested federations, because you've done PCA, haven't you?
I've done PCA, UKEP and Pure Elite are all the non-tested ones I did. Well, for PCA that I did when I did it last year, like I did not want to do that show. My coach at the time basically made me do that show because she was like, oh, you're lean enough, let's do it. But I had already like gone home to Ireland for 2 weeks. I'd eaten everything in sight, but I managed. I'm so weird that like I'm one of those people where my initial bump in calories, like my NEAT correlates like almost parallel or like exactly the same. So when I eat loads after my show, my NEAT just ramps up and I don't end up gaining any weight. So I didn't gain any weight, but I looked awful. I was so like tired and stringy and lean at the time, and I had like very little muscle at that point. So when I stepped on stage, it was really embarrassing because I just looked terrible. So I didn't place. So I have that like that barrier against PCA now because of that occasion. So I'd love to go back maybe once I've taken time away and kind of reestablish myself. But I find with the other ones like UKUP, I don't think is like the look they go for bikini isn't as hard as PCA, so I wouldn't say it's much of a problem. But I really liked being in UK DFBA and the Irish one NBFI. I just really liked how well the shows were run as well. So I didn't really even necessarily do it because it was natural. Yeah, I did it because I liked the federation itself.
I think it's so important to like the federation and the posing. Like I really like PCA's posing, which is why I stay PCA. Yeah. It does require a look that absolutely makes me feel like I'm in my grave because I have to get so lean in masters as well. But yeah, I like the posing, and that's the one thing that I'm like. And the timing of the shows, I think, is also a big thing, right? I chose my shows around my work and my projects at work, so that would make it easier for me to prep. And where they are, you know, like I don't want to travel unless I'm traveling for a big show like finals or worlds. I don't really want to travel that far away from where I live. It's just stressful. It's expensive. So yeah, good old Birmingham. It's just an hour and a half away.
That's so
and it's
handy,
the home of PCA. So I've competed there 3 or 4 times now. How many times have I been? Yeah, 4 times. When they changed the finals to Hull, I was outraged.
How far away is that from you?
This is the other end of the country. I'm like, Hull? Yeah, where's that?
They've been catching flights to do shows.
Yeah. But yeah, like Birmingham, I can come home after the show. So it's like, handy. I don't even have to stay overnight, but I do like to just chill and not rush. Like I did my first PCA show, I went on my own. I only decided to do it 1 week out. So I went and I won my category, which meant I did the pro show in the end. So I missed my train home. But thank God I had all that ridiculous makeup and tan, and I had my little trophy, and I just went to Virgin Train's desk like, can I get on the next train? And I was fully expecting them to be like, what on earth? But they were like, yeah, you can, and we're going to upgrade you to first. And I was like, yes.
Nice.
But I never want to go through that again, you know, like having to ask for help or like having to pay massive. I think it would have cost me £170. I was like, but yeah, I think that is another tip for prepping as well when you're really busy, is just make it as efficient and easy for yourself as possible with stuff like the travel. Where is the show? You know, is it a new federation that you don't know the posing? You know, you need to give yourself time. I would, if I was doing a PhD, and I would only compete in one federation that year, because you'll know that posing, you'll nail it. You can really be your best rather than a kind of jack of all trades, master of none.
But at the same time, I think that the longer you do posing, the easier it is to like literally just tweak it. Yeah. Because a lot of them, like the base is similar. It's just maybe like the arm placement, or it's like the kind of the overall frame they want. But say like UKDFBA and PCA, they're very similar, but UKDFBA don't like the arms up. They just don't like it. So all you have to do is do same posing, arms down. That's it. Okay. So it's those kind of tweaks. Yeah. For like pure elite as well, that one's very different though. Or like WBFF or something. Like I find that very hard. Like I had 1 week in between bodybuilding and fitness modeling. Yeah. It was very hard to switch between the two. So yeah, that's the kind of consideration. Like if you're going for like a modeling show versus a bodybuilding show, that might be a bit difficult because one is so flexed and rigid and the other is very fluid. Yeah.
And I suppose you've got 2 different personas as well, haven't you? Because I have to pretend to be someone else to go on stage because I hate I'm not an entertainer. So yeah, take on this kind of different persona. And if I was doing a fitness modeling one, I'd have to take on a whole different persona, you know, like to be able to do that kind of posing. Yeah, oh God, I would be.
Like cringing. your inner Sasha Fierce has to be there. Like,
Yeah.
she has to come out in full force, because you need to like literally like wow the judges, being all like the sultriness and stuff. And like, I find myself very cringy at the best of times, so trying to look all like sexy and stuff, I find they're very challenging.
This is why I could never do WBFF. They're so sexy and they're so effortless. And then I just feel I am that emoji with the glasses and the little teeth sticking out. Like, that's me. So I'm like, yeah, I don't think WBFF's ever going to see me on their stage, to be honest.
Yeah. I do love it. Like, I think the girls look amazing, but
yeah, they
like,
look amazing.
You have to be kind of, it's not the kind of posing that you could teach. You can teach the moves, but if you don't have it coming from within as well, it's kind of difficult, because otherwise you just look really rigid and uncomfortable. So that is what I find hard, is because I was so used to doing the mandatory flexed rigid posing, hold for as long as you can, squeeze everything. Whereas even with like bikini in Pure Elite, like, they don't like you to be overly muscular, so you almost have to sometimes like hide your shape a little bit so you don't look as much like you train properly. It's more like a softer look. So yeah, it's hard.
I've really found that I've been doing some posing for NPC, because I might do both.
I'm thinking about doing NPC next year as well.
Yeah, I did a posing session with Phoebe Hayden, and she was literally like, do not flex a single muscle apart from your hamstrings. I was just literally, I'm so used to having a big lat spread and everything's tense, and she's like, stop tensing your arms, and I'm like, they're not tensed. And I'm like, she's like, they are, and I'm like, no, they're not.
It's so hard. You're like, but I don't have the muscle. I need to flex and show off what I have.
It's so funny, because I've always, my pride and joy, and I think my most biggest selling point on stage is my back. It's really lean, it's really muscular compared to the rest of me. And obviously in that federation, your back is hidden the whole time. So I'm like, what do I have to show off then? She's like, just be graceful. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can't do that.
It's so hard. Yeah. I'd love to try it though, because that's the thing. I think I have like mental barriers against IFBB and PCA, because they do have like very high reputations. But then I'd love to like what's the worst that can happen is you don't place. Like, there's shows I haven't placed in before. You get over it, but at least then you know.
Someone did ask me, how do you feel when we don't place? I must admit, I've only competed 5 times. I'm looking at my trophies now, like 5 times. I've actually placed every time. But as I start to compete at a higher level, obviously there's going to be, the time is coming where I don't walk away with a trophy. I imagine that it will just be my ego that's bruised, really, because nobody else cares, right? They're proud of you for going through the prep. They support you no matter what. Otherwise, they're not the right people. So just be a bruised ego, but you can learn a lot from disappointment, right? And I hope that I will be in that mindset when it happens. How did you deal with it when it happened?
So I've competed 7 times and I've placed 5 times. So there's twice I haven't placed. My first and my last show are actually the 2 ones I didn't place at.
Yeah.
My first one was meant to be my only show, and I just, obviously it gave me the drive to keep going. I have always prided myself on the fact that no matter what, I dust myself off and I keep going. Like, anything knocks me, but like, I'm so extreme. Like, I'll be up here for competing, I'll take a hit and I'll be rock bottom for a night. I'll bawl my eyes out, I will go crazy, and the next morning I'll get up and be like, right, what's next? So like, for Pure Elite, the first show I ever did, I just got up the next morning and said, there's a show, I'm in Body Power in 2 weeks, there's a show at Body Power, I'm going to do that. So I ended up placing in that and qualifying for finals, so that went well. My most recent show was when I went to Worlds, which, to be honest, like, I was very, very upset. I was really disheartened, because like, it was such a build up. Like, I was representing Ireland, I was in New York, like, there was so much build up, and like, a lot of my teammates placed and I didn't place in the end. But it was mainly, I was sad because like, I thought I looked my best at that show. Yeah. But like, as I was saying, I think I wrote a post yesterday about it. Like, I just wasn't what they wanted in bikini. Like, the American bikini in the Natural Federation is really different. Like, in the UK, the FBA and PCA and all those shows, the girls, they're conditioned, they're flexed, they're muscular, they have all those traits about them. But for WNBF, like, the girls were like, they were a lot softer. It was more like a more fluid posing. So it was almost like they were implementing some WBFF style posing into their rigid posing. And it was just very, like, I just looked out of place because I was way too lean. I was way too flexed. I just didn't fit into what their criteria was for the bikini girl. So I didn't place in that show at all. I got my scorecard and a few of the judges placed me, but then the other ones didn't. So it, like, the average didn't work.
It's so subjective, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's just, I felt the hardest thing for me was that because I did so well in that federation until I got to the Worlds, I thought I had found my federation. I was like, oh my God, like, maybe this is my place. Maybe I'll do well in this federation. But then when I got to the world stage and I barely got a look in, like, people were saying, like, when I went live, like, I seemed to have got first call outs, and then I got kind of put to the side, then I got put to the other side, and then I didn't place. And also it was such a long day. Like, I got up at 4 a.m. for my show, for my tan, for my top coat, and the show ended at 4 a.m. the next day.
What?
Yeah, it was a long day. So
wow.
I was wrecked. I was on stage at 3 a.m. We were all in our pajamas backstage because it was so cold and we were so tired. We hadn't eaten all day.
So, and we moan about PCA running over by like an hour or two.
Yeah. And, like,
I go on stage at like 6 if it's running late p.m.
No,
you know,
I went on stage for the first time at 6 p.m. and then again at 3 a.m. twice. And then the second time it wasn't even judged. It was just for show. So all the competitors went on twice, but the second time wasn't judged. It was crazy. And it was in a school, like a school that was closed for the weekend, where they didn't have any food, drink, refreshments, nothing was there. And it was in the middle of Long Island in New York in the middle of winter, so there wasn't really anything going on.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. Like, it was really, really crazy. And I think after that day I was devastated. And then I was in New York, and I just kind of I thought I was going to have this great week in New York afterwards celebrating, but I ended up going home because I was just so knackered. And my season was 6 months long almost.
Yeah.
It was really, really taxing. And I just felt that even if I had placed 5th and got some sort of recognition, I would have been happy. But because I didn't get anything, it was very, very deflating. But that's when...
Mate, you're a world finalist. Like, you qualified for it. It's your first season, right?
No, it was my second.
Your second. But you're your national champion. Like...
Yeah. But no, I appreciate that now. And that's why I came home and was like, okay, like, I had that knock. I obviously wasn't good enough this year. What I'm going to do to make sure that doesn't happen again. And I was like, I'm going to make sure I go with a coach that is going to nail absolutely every single variable that is possible. Yeah. And we're going to do everything we can to be as good as possible, given my circumstances, my genetics, my environment, my everything, to just make sure everything is absolutely perfect. So that's what I've done, is like, I've tried to nail every single variable. Yeah. Because I haven't done that before. So hopefully that will rinse out some more newbie gains that I didn't think I had.
Yeah.
And even just improve the prep process when I do prep again. And I've learned to myself what works for me. And just trying to improve and learn from the experience before.
I think that, so for me, I won the British, and then I knew that because of that I had a good chance at Worlds, but then I looked at the girls backstage and it knocked my confidence. Like, they were incredible, and it was rushed. We were on stage for about 45 minutes at the finals, and we were on stage for 7 minutes including trophies at Worlds, because they rushed us. We didn't even get an eye walk. We got 3 at the same time, do your mandatories off, and it was just such a
that's such a letdown, isn't it?
But I came second. There's no greater motivation than second place. I'm telling you, when you're that close. So that's why I've spent money on investing in gym kit now. Like, I've actually do what my coach says now. But I think also for both of us, we just need time for our muscle to mature. And I think
but like, we are probably the same kind of body type where we can lean out very easily, but we can also find it hard to gain muscle. So for us, that's just time.
Yeah,
it's just time.
It is time.
Patience, perseverance, doing the same shit every single day.
Yeah,
and eventually it will lead to the outcome you want. But like, thankfully,
just gotta keep ticking the boxes, right?
That's it. It's just a game where you just every day plod along, do the same shit, do what your coach tells you to do, eat the food, train, and just do it. And it's quite methodical in a way. And for me, for someone that likes structure and routine, I'm finding it quite enjoyable, the process of just every day being like, right, I've done this, that, and the other. Next day, do the same thing, and it's fine. But like I'm thankful that I wanted to take this year off anyway, because like I would have gotten the bug if this hadn't happened. So I'm really glad that it like I didn't, like, it's nice the way no one is competing now almost, so that you can just focus on improving now.
I just I only ever compete every other year. I don't compete every year. It will affect my career too much. I have to work on spreadsheets and, oh God, numbers. And it's just the time of year that our financial year end falls different. I can't be prepping. So my boss literally, after I did the finals, was like, oh, thank God it's finished. And I was like, I qualified for Worlds. You know, and then I was going to do another show like after, and he was just like, really? And I was like, I'm going to take a year off. But I needed the year to make my physical improvements anyway. I don't think because I would have done end of October, so early November would have been my last show. The next ones are in April. I wouldn't have been ready mentally to diet again. I really had to go to some dark places last season to get that lean, and I couldn't do it. I needed a break. But lo and behold, I've had like over a year off. I just did an 8-week prep for Worlds. It fell off me to the point where my coach had to ask me if I was natural. She was just literally like, are you taking something? And I was like, no, I'm just sticking to my macros and actually doing exactly the expenditure she told me instead of doing more, like I always do. I just literally just did exactly what she said. And because I was well rested and I was ready, and she knows my physique as well because we've competed together last season, it just worked. So I think taking time off is really underrated, actually.
There's a lot to be said about spending time getting your body into the prime position to prep, because it's going to look like you so much more. It's not going to fight you as much. It's going to adhere, at least for the first bit. It's going to comply with you a bit better. You know, it's hard when you've gone season to season to season with no off season in between. Like, it's not good in any way. It's not beneficial at all.
No,
like, especially if you're natural and you can't really build on prep as it is. So.
Yeah, I think that one of the key things for me is just having a flexible mindset, and just, you know, if things need to change, they need to change. I mean, I really thought this year was going to be my last year competing, because I'm actually quite old. My face is ruined.
It's not.
Oh my God, honestly, it's not even coming back.
I heard your age.
My stomach is coming back, but my face is not.
I didn't know you were a master's.
Yeah, I'm 38. And
you're 38.
I'm 38. Excuse me, I just need some of this vodka.
Oh my God, you like honestly never thought that.
Yes, I'm 38. So where I'm at in my life, I didn't really want to add in competing as well. You know, the year I'm 40 is going to be very different for me than I might compete again in my 40s, but I just wanted to take a couple of years out to work on my personal life and my career, so that I am where I want to be when I'm 40, which is only 2 years, right? It's not far. So, you know, Worlds being cancelled this year, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to be rescheduled this year because of travel restrictions, because it's Worlds, you know, it's not just British. That will probably go ahead. I'm not going to prep again until Worlds, because that's my goal. So yeah, am I going to do it? Who knows? Are they going to do it next year? Because it's actually every other year, and next year is meant to be Europeans. So I don't know if I'm going to compete again, but I just had to take it on the chin, still work towards my goal. I actually want to look like that body shape and that kind of muscularity for my real life as well, but obviously with additional body fat. So I don't want to be lean. Don't want to see my abs, to be honest, but I do want to have the shape that competing gives me. So I'm continuing on my journey. I'm not dieting because I know it will just drop off when I need it to. But yeah, I really have enjoyed having the structure, although I have found it hard for the motivation to train at home. I think people take it for granted that just because we've got the kit doesn't mean it's the same environment, you know, and the environment is trash when it's cold and freezing cold in the garden. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got to go and squat out there.
No.
Like,
everything that I've loved about training at home, like finding the motivation is hard. And like, no matter how much kit you have, it's still hard to get the motivation. But I rediscovered being able to sing in between sets. So I put on like that absolute belters, and in between sets I'll just blast out. And you know, it's like my garage is really like the shower where your acoustics just make it sound unreal. So I'm there being like, oh my god, this is unreal, having the concert to myself, loving life, which I can't do in a normal gym. So you know, every cloud is silver lining. So been able to rediscover
I like training in my pajamas is new. But it happens sometimes. The way I go dressed to train now is unreal, because I must admit I am one of those losers that I always will look pretty pristine in the gym because you never know who's going to be there. And it's like a gym uniform, isn't it? High-waisted leggings, crop top. High-waisted leggings, all different colours. But no, now I'm literally working out looking like a hobo.
I'm getting some
good sessions in.
Yeah, I remember there was one session, like I hate putting on shoes to train now. I just feel like that shouldn't be a thing. So one time I wasn't wearing shoes, and then Luke was commenting, being like, you really should put on some shoes for that. Like, that's not the most efficient way to do it. And I was like, damn you, like, why can't I just not wear shoes in my own house?
Do you know what? There's only a couple of exercises that I wear shoes for, like hack squat. You need the grip, because if you just slide, oh my god. But I don't have a hack squat at home. So I am just wearing my socks. But yeah, people comment it on my videos as well. Somebody asked me if we use an app for organizing because we're trying to fit everything in. I actually use my calendar, just my Google Calendar, to block the time out. But I do use Trello but that's more on my to-do list.
Yeah.
But I try not to have a to-do list when I'm prepping. There's very minimal stuff going on in my life at that time. I have a massive burst of productivity just before prep starts to try and clear my chores, my administration and stuff, to just try and make it as easy as possible for myself.
Yeah.
How do you plan your time?
Yeah, so I actually do it the old-fashioned way. I have my journal with me here, but I love handwriting things because I like having nice handwriting, and it just, when I write things down, it just seems more manageable, and then I can like tick them off. But in prep, like, not only I was interviewing for a job, I was traveling, I was doing my driving lessons to get my license, I was doing a menu, I was doing like practical seminars. Like, I was very busy, so I needed that structure. So I did create like a plan for myself every single day. Like it was like cardio morning, then go to work, then train, then do my driving lesson or my driving practice, then study, then bed. And it was just repeat cycle. So you kind of need it. And then I felt more accomplished when I was able to tick it off every day. It didn't feel so overwhelming. Yeah. So I try and do that every single day, is create a list of things to do. But yeah, I don't use an app because I think it's more like satisfying when you can tick it off on paper.
I tried to do as much stuff that I wasn't meant to do at work as possible, like online groceries. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to just try and maximize my time. I'm a multitasker. So if I've got cardio and I've already been, I like to walk outside, but if I've got something that I need to do on my laptop or my phone, I'll do it on a bike or on a treadmill, never on the Stairmaster. You need to concentrate on that one. But yeah, just try and multitask as much as I can. I also try to really realize that some things don't matter if you don't do them today, which is why my house looked like a crack den. But it is, I mean, I live on my own, so if I don't tidy up, it's not the end of the world. It's not ideal, but I can do it the next day or the day after. Whereas I need to be hitting my goals for prep. I have to have had that energy expenditure. That was the goal. You know, I have to have prepped my meals, for example. Yeah. So I think really understanding that some things are not so urgent, because everything's urgent to you, right? Like, shit, I need to do my laundry, and it's like, okay, if I have to wear something a little bit different tomorrow, it'll be fine. I've turned up in some clothes to work. Sometimes they're just like, and I'm like,
well, you know, when you're in the depths of prep and everything looks shit, like real clothes look crap on you anyway.
I just live in my gym kit and a big jumper at work, but with like knee boots or something to try and just hide the fact that it just emblazoned on it as Gymshark or something.
The sponge bomb.
Luckily, I used to work in finance, so I used to have to wear a suit to work, and they never fit me in prep, but now I work in software, so I can wear whatever I want unless I've got a meeting. So yeah, I always just end up wearing my gym kit with a jumper over the top. Brilliant.
Yeah, that's the way to be. Yeah. I could do, when I worked in Cambridge, because I worked in academia, I literally wore my full gym sets to work, and no one cares in academia. But once you get into industry and like you deal with clients and like people pay you properly, you have to look professional.
Yeah.
So that kind of took a bit of a hit. I was so used to wearing my gym stuff to work and then going straight to the gym and not having to change. And I was like, what is this? And I now have to wear like normal clothes. Like,
yeah. I mean, I even used to schedule in showering.
Yeah.
Because you just don't shower in prep. It's disgusting.
I have hair extensions, so I need to schedule in to wash them, because you have to bone dry them every time, that you can't let them wet, so you can't air dry them. So I have to schedule in an hour to wash my hair, which is terrible. So I only do it like once or twice a week, because I
look like I've got dreadlocks when I'm in prep. Honestly, it's so bad. There's one video and my face has got not one shred of fat on it. It's after finals and in between worlds, and I'm going to MAC to get some makeup, to do my own makeup, and my hair is so matted and my face is such a skull, and I just look at it and think, that was my lunch break from work. Like, how did I go to work looking like that? And nobody said anything at work either. But they were probably so scared, because somebody left a box of chocolates on my desk and I lost my shit about them sabotaging me, and they've never done it again.
What I find crazy is, like, in my last prep, not one of my coworkers or my client, like, or my patients mentioned that I had lost weight. So I kept thinking to myself, I'm not lean enough, because no one has mentioned it, but they're probably thinking like, that girl has an issue. Like,
she's got an eating disorder.
Yeah, they were going to applaud me.
In my first prep, I worked for in finance for a big bank, and someone pulled me aside and just said, look, are you okay? Like, because I just sucked in. Yeah. I was so skinny because I didn't have any muscle mass, so they were probably just like, whoa, are you okay? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing this competition. And then they probably thought I was even crazier than they had thought at first.
Yeah, they all think it myself.
Yeah. I just literally just saw my cat jump up in the background. What are you doing? Scrabbling. Oh God, they've got something that they're not meant to have. What else was I going to ask you? Just, I suppose, what's the future hold for you? Do you think that you're going to be able to run both businesses at once, like your online coaching and work for somebody else, or eventually are you hoping to just work for yourself?
It's such a good question, because I don't actually know, because especially like in this situation, like, we are so fortunate that we are still employed. And if I didn't have that, that would have been devastating. So I feel so lucky that I still have like a salary coming in and that it's stable. So like, if I were to kind of go off and do my own thing, it wouldn't be until I know that I am completely self-sufficient and stable and safe. At the moment, like, because I'm the kind of like, I think it's the kind of person you are. Like, I'm the kind of person who just loves being busy all the time. So it doesn't bother me to get home from work and then have client work to do, because I love it so much, and I love all my clients and I enjoy like talking to them. So to me, it's not work. And they all check in at the weekend, so it's not like I have to check in with them during the week when I'm on the go and I'm working. And I have the strategies in place now where scaling, like, the first 3 were really, really hard, but then scaling up from that has got easier and easier, because it's like the more you have, the more systems you have in place to make it easier. So that's fine. So yeah, I think I'm just going to see how it goes. Like, at the moment, I wouldn't be able to leave my full-time job because I just don't have enough business. And also because I'm continuing my studies, and obviously that costs money. Like, I'm paying for the PT collective course. I really want to do RTS when I can actually start traveling to the UK again. I want to do more practicals and seminars and further my education in other ways. So to fund that, I think I'll need to keep it on for the moment. But I don't know. I just don't know whether I'll be satisfied with not being like just a coach, but like not having the other facet of my life. Like, I quite enjoy being that like Hannah Montana kind of double personality girl, like a scientist on one side, but also the fitness girl on the other. Like, I really enjoy that. And it's nice to get away from fitness for a while, because sometimes when it consumes your life, it's a bit overwhelming. So I like having that other facet to me. But the short answer is I don't know. So we'll see how it goes.
Do you have any tips for anyone that's thinking of becoming a coach or is just starting out as a coach?
I think it really depends. Like, first of all, I would say make sure you are educated enough to do it, because you are taking someone's life basically into your hands, and you're going to play God on their life.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that you are qualified to do so, and that you have the knowledge and expertise to do it. If you can help out a friend or family member first, that would be ideal, but that didn't really work for me because I just find that family members don't listen to me.
Yeah.
So
No,
I've tried.
I'm same.
I have like my friends or my family or something like, oh, I really want to. Cat is trying to pipe in
every single time. Hi guys.
Yeah, I like friends and family always saying to me like, oh, I really want to lose weight, and I'd be like, okay, let's do it, and they'd be like, oh, I don't know,
Yeah,
I'm ready for that.
That's not how I want to do it. And it's like,
yeah,
this is
like,
how to do it.
It's like they don't take you seriously as a professional unless like you're not related to them. So I would just like educate yourself, try and help as much as you can. Reach out to other coaches as well. Like I reached out to coaches asking them for advice. I did consultation calls with coaches asking what they did and how they went about it, and like even like strategies as like, how do I set it up as a business, and should I make it a limited company, and what do I do with my taxes, and you know, how should I price things, and like all the kind of technicalities like that, and like creating a website. That kind of stuff is useful to ask for. So just like don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help from people, because if someone came to me and asked for help, I'd be 100% able to help them, because I've been through it quite recently and I know like the hurdles I went through along the way.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like if you're a good coach and you are passionate about what you do and you want to spread the message and help people, that has to be at your core. That you can't do it just for money. You can't do it just for Instagram followers. You have to do it because you genuinely want to help people and you have this passion, which is what I have. So I don't care how slow the business grows or anything, because I know that the people I do help, I provide value to their lives, and that is what is important to me. So
I think that some people think that it's so easy to become a coach and you can just work from home and it's all glamorous. And now I've got quite a few friends that are coaches and I see behind the scenes and I'm like, I don't think I could do it, because I haven't got the bloody patience to deal with the crazy people. I mean, we're talking about prep coaches now, right? But even the lifestyle coaching, some of the girls and their tales of their clients, and it's just like, I just don't think I could do it.
Yeah, I think you have to realize as well is that what I find is like the more I learn, the more you have to realize that people don't know all that stuff. Like there's a reason why you've learned it, is because you one day didn't know all that stuff. So you know, there are still people that are afraid of carbs. There are still people who won't eat after 6. There are still people who have been like taken over by all this stuff by the media, and they believe all these things and these sensationalist headlines and these celebrities selling all this stuff. They believe it because they've never been told or informed otherwise. So you have to be patient with them and explain to them and educate them, and not be frustrated because, oh God, I can't believe they believe that. Isn't that really old school? Because they don't know. And like your Instagram feed is what you've created for yourself. So if you only follow evidence-based practitioners, that's all you're going to see. But if you are like someone else and they only follow celebrities, or they only follow other crazy quack people that believe all this stuff and type low carb diets and keto diets and stuff like that, they're only going to believe it. So you kind of create your own environment in a way. So yeah, you have to be patient with that.
Wow. I always thought, oh, I could be a coach. Yeah. And now I'm like,
yeah, it's not all like sunshine and Bali.
No, it keeps
stuff, unfortunately.
But you love it, obviously. I think it has to be a calling, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, and I think because I spent so long thinking about it, that it gave me a lot of time to actually think of what kind of coach I wanted to be, and if I was really up for it, and if I'd really enjoy it. Because I think I went to, it was AJ and Revive Stronger's Ultimate Coaching Seminar back in February in Birmingham, actually, in Ultimate Fitness. And that's what piqued my interest. I was the only person in the room that wasn't a coach. And then when I did Integra this year, before I started coaching properly, and everyone was like, hands up, who's a trainer? And everyone put up their hand except for me. And I was there like, hello, I'm on my own. So I really did my research first. I was like, is this really what I want to do? Can I really take on training and nutrition for these people? So I really did my research and my homework first before I went out and ventured. And then because I have had so many coaches, I know what I don't like and I know what I like in a coach. So that really helped as well.
I think it's really important actually to know what you don't like and what you don't want to be like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you only learn that through experience, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I think it's the same with prep though. So many people think it's this glamorous thing where you get on stage and you're in a sparkly bikini and they just don't know the actual reality and how awful it can be sometimes and how amazing it can be as well. But I always try to
It's
give
like
them
so
the
extreme.
Yeah. And I always try to tell people about the rough times more than the amazing times, because you really got to put yourself through hell sometimes, you know. Not every time, every prep is different, but you have to be willing to go there.
But it's the thing is, like, at the time you don't realize how shit you feel until afterwards, and you look back being like, I was a nightmare. And I remember like apologizing to my family and my friends and people at the gym and people at my work being like, I am sorry that I'm so horrible. Can you please just like give me this time, just forgive me, and whatever I say now, don't hold it against me, please.
I never realized how bad I look until afterwards, when I start to look better again, like more healthy, and then I'm like, damn, I looked really dead. You know, like,
crazy. And just like,
I think it's really funny because I started training so late. I didn't even start going to the gym until I was 31. So all my friends from before are literally like, what on earth are you doing? You know, like, I remember really clearly someone saying to me once, you're too old to be a fitness model. And I was like, I'm not trying to be a fitness model, but yeah. And when I won the British, that same person was like, so proud of you, like blah, blah, blah. And I was like, F off, you did not support me.
People like that.
Yeah,
So
you're too old to be a fitness model. So what I just went and did is become the champion of the older girls.
Okay. And then
like,
screw you.
Yeah, I'll be a masters champion. Fine. About
still a champion, so it's more than them, I'm sure.
I must say, competing in masters is the first time I've ever even thought about my age. You know, it becomes a thing because you are now in your age division instead of your height. I really struggled with it for the first year.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, I'm old, it's fine.
I just don't think it means anything anymore, like, because everyone is older but younger these days because you're living for longer anyway. Like, I just don't think the older generation is what it was. Like in my PT qualification at the moment, it's saying that people over 50 are counted as older people, but like my dad is like 62 and I would not think of him as old, like, at all. So like it just like builds up from there, you know.
Yeah, we can't let ourselves be labeled.
Age is just
got to do what makes you happy, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. We've only got 2 minutes and then it kicks us off.
It's so annoying that it does that.
I know. It's so abrupt.
Yeah.
Have you got anything else you'd like to leave us with?
Oh God.
Any pearls of wisdom for us? No, I've got none.
I just think at the end of the day,
I like to put everyone on the spot, and they're like,
no. My pearl of wisdom is if you really want to do something, you won't make excuses for it, and you'll find a way to do it, and you'll prioritize it in your life. Because people are always saying to me like, how do you do this? You're so busy. But like, if you love something enough, you'll find a way. Like, everyone has the same amount of hours in their day. Everyone has the same capacity to fit things in. Like, if you want something enough, like, you'll go for it, and don't be afraid to reach out for help if you need to. That's my other thing as well.
I think that's the key thing, asking for help. There's no shame in it. And also, just don't care what other people think and just do it.
No, just go for it, you know.
That holds you back so much, doesn't it? Thinking about what other people are going to think. Just do it if you want to do it.
But yeah, go with your heart and go for it, and don't care about what other people think. So that's the main thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to stick this on my live story, and it will be on YouTube too later.
Perfect. Thank you for everything.
It was lovely to speak to you. Thank you to everyone watching as well.
Thank you. Bye.